Hey team, Gunna Lie here. Welcome back to the Building Better Humans Project podcast. Yet another episode of Mayhem Monday, which as always means
we have mayhem
in the building.
Yeah.
I love that start. This week we thought we'd go through some NGLs. And I know we're doing lessons learned every week, but we're kind of filming a couple of these back to back before I go away. So it's the same week realistically. So I think we'll just roll straight in if that's right. These are really random. I've got all sorts of questions here, but there's some that are really deep. We've had a couple sneak through that have kind of been having a dig at us again, but that's okay. These things happen. All right, so this one says, hi, I love the podcast. With closing down the gym, what have you found that you can do more of or you miss from it? Hope that makes sense. I get a lot more time to do youth development because there's that 80-20 rule where they talk about the thing that in business, the thing that makes 20% of your money, you spend 80% of your time doing sometimes. And if that's the case, you need to find other things to do. So I think we've just had more time for kids, for sport, for in between doing adventures, for spending time together. We're trying to build something pretty big in the youth development and youth housing space, and it's taken a lot of our time, to be fair. So you've been working a lot of extra shifts, and then I've been doing a lot of I feel a bit lazy because I feel like you're doing all the work at the moment. I'm sitting at home. But what's really happening is I'm trying to get all the background stuff done so that you're getting all the experience, which is massively helping. And then I'm trying to build all the protocols and systems behind it. What have you noticed that we get more time to do?
Kids stuff, probably.
Because we've got a gym at home, so we still get to do our training.
Yeah. But also, when we used to do like my S&C at 180, driving time.
Yeah.
Like, because we live in bloody all the way out there. So it's like 45 minutes drive in sometimes, 55 even if it's traffic.
Yeah, and on the way
so
out.
we're losing an hour and a half every day, sometimes even twice a day. So I guess we get less time to drive and more time at home.
When you first started training with me, sometimes Mili would come in and train 3 times a day.
Hectic.
Now I realise exactly where you live. I'm like, wow, that's your whole day was travelling.
Pretty much, yeah.
Train and recover. So this one, have you ever had to deal with depression and how did you manage it? I've never had depression, I don't think. I've been sad. Like things have happened that have made me sad, but nothing that I would consider depression.
Me neither.
Yeah, so it's a really hard one for me to answer. But my best response would be, I love this idea of changing your physiology. And I know I've definitely talked about this on the show before, but do things that will change your physiology. When you're sad, you think about how you are when you're sad. People just kind of sit a certain way. We tend to listen to sad music. Our whole physiology, the way we do things changes. Whereas I know Tony Robbins does a thing where he says to sit up with your chest out and lift your chin up and then try and be sad. It's actually really hard because sadness will just sit a certain way. And if you sit here, even when you're driving your car, if you're listening to this, try and sit back, shoulders up, chin up, or shoulders back, chin up, and then try and feel sad about a thing. It's really hard
I've seen one where you just force yourself to smile.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to like you're smiling. Like it's really hard to, Or I've seen ones where you go for a walk and you smile at everybody who will look at you. And then you actually do feel really good after it. I've tried that one.
Yeah.
I like to go to the gym. Not everyone likes to go to the gym. They find it a chore, which is fair enough. Sometimes I feel that way too. But if I'm really sad, I like to go to the gym. Another one that I like to do is go to the beach. Just get out and do something. And then, or you go and message your mate and go, hey, do you want to hang out? And then try and forget about it.
This one's
not suppress it.
No, you definitely not suppress it.
Just try and put your mind on something else.
Yeah. This one's kind of funny, I guess. It says, definitely open up questions about big age gaps in a relationship, mate. I'm also dating a girl younger. People are always curious about it. You just need to find a woman. This is a bit that gets me. You just need to find a woman who doesn't rely on physical attraction for a connection, and you're golden. I think you just called me ugly.
That's why.
Ease
Not
up.
nice.
This is why I lack confidence. I want to sit up taller now because I feel a bit sad about that. I don't know. I don't think women rely on physical attraction as much as men when we're younger, definitely. I don't know, because maybe it's just because I'm not into blokes.
A lot of women do.
Most blokes have pretty rough heads, in my opinion, and we still seem to get girlfriends. So.
A lot of women do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why boys...
Like, you'll get roasted in the girls' group chat if your man's like, something's wrong with his head.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you mean the girls' chat?
Like if there's a girls' chat, or say you go out to lunch or something,
And you
then,
introduce them to a new boy.
no. Say you'll show him, and and I like every time someone will show him, I'm like he looks better in person, and like you're already making justifications on how he looks because you know you're about to get roasted.
He's got a great personality.
He's so funny.
All right, fair enough. So I just have to find a girl that's not into physical attraction. And I found her.
Oh my God.
This question was, what is Alyssa up to? And I'll address it just because someone asked. There's a lot going on in Alyssa as well, but she's very private these days, and I don't talk about what she's up to. She lived a public life for a long period of time. There's stuff on record that she went through, and that's sort of a space that she has to deal with now. And it's not really something that I can talk about publicly. It's open to the public if you go and do some Googling, but it's not my place to talk about it. No. So, yeah, I won't. Outside of this one time of just because that came up, I won't answer questions on what Alyssa's up to because that's not my place. It's up to her. This one said, do you honestly think you and Mili will make it? Not many relationships truly seem to be forever these days. Social media, ease of finding someone new. How do you see you guys, it says hearing all of that. I don't think that's what they meant. How do you see you guys, I guess, getting through all of that? Or I don't know what that last bit means. The short answer is none of us know. You don't know how your relationship's going to go long term, obviously. But I think blaming social media or ease of finding someone new or relationships not lasting long these days, I think that can be a cop-out to, of course, people are going to slide into DMs or people are going to try and, Mili went to the gym the other day and some bloke asked her out for coffee. Of course that's going to happen. But that doesn't mean to say that you're going to take every one of those opportunities, or if you're upset with me, you go, well, he annoyed me today, so I'm going to take that opportunity. And that's a cop-out to blame someone or to blame social media. But my thing would be, do you actively work on your relationship, which we both do? And 99% of the time, our relationship is fantastic. And 1% of the time it's not when you have an argument, of course, because we get emotional and we feel away. But that doesn't mean, and I'm a catastrophizer and I've had to work on this, but that doesn't mean that your relationship's over.
No.
I do think it's such a fine line. I think people walk away from relationships too quickly, but there are people that stay in too long. So how do you find the right way of doing things? So look, do you honestly think we'll make it? Yes, I do.
Me too.
But none of us know that. But yes, I do believe that. I don't envisage a life that doesn't have you in it. And we've often said, because it was traumatic, traumatic's not probably the right word, but very hectic first couple of years, there was definitely times where we've said, do you think we were better off just being friends? And I remember the early days, I'd think, if nothing else, I'd at least want to be a friend. But the truth is, I just think we're deeper than that. And it would be hard to be just friends, even though we've said that. So do we think we make it? Yes. And if you don't think you're going to make it in your relationship, what are you doing? Because you invest so much time into it. And, obviously Mili's got boys and I wouldn't, invest the time into you and upset their lives. I just wouldn't do that. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. So
people do that. You know how you were talking about the sunken cost fallacy? And they think they might not make it, but they've gone so many years in this thing and they can't back out now because I've invested so much time. But I saw this quote and I can't exactly remember what it is. But it's like, if you are on a plane that you knew was going to crash, but you could get off, why wouldn't you?
That's a good point. I've not heard that.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Like if you had a parachute and you could jump off and you'd be sweet.
But I paid for this flight and I'm already here now.
But I paid for it and I'm halfway. What are you doing?
But what if it doesn't crash? But no, we're telling you it's going to crash.
We're saying you're going to die.
This one, do you guys have pet names for each other? Do we? I don't think so. Like Mayhem, Mili's Mayhem, that's who she is. Like when we say Mayhem, obviously Mayhem Mondays, that's always been what it is. That's how you are on my phone. It's Mayhem with a couple of love hearts.
I just call you my big baby.
Stop it. You do not. Baby. She actually does. I'm not a baby.
You sound like Marley.
He says that. So this one says, not sure how you watch your partner get punched in the face. Love that you support her, but I couldn't watch my partner getting beat up. Well, firstly, my goal is that she doesn't get punched in the face. That's the art of the sport.
We've been trying to work on my head movement.
Secondly, she's never been beat up.
No.
But I don't know. I do compartmentalise boxing from my personal emotions to you. I think I might struggle more if I was just watching from the outside. And I've had mums say that about their kids. I had a mixture.
I feel that way about the kids.
Yeah.
I'd rather them play footy than get punched square in the face and have the risk of them getting knocked out cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a risk in footy as well, but it's less common.
Yeah, and a little bit more fun. And there's probably more injuries in footy. But
yeah.
So whenever my footy kids get an injury, like they break something in their lower body, I go, you should take up a safe sport like boxing.
You know, when you watch boxing or any type of MMA, like, you know, whatever it is, Muay Thai, and they just get this clean shot and the life just drains out of their eyes and they just pause and they just drop. I just couldn't watch my child go through that, which is why I say I would rather them play footy.
For people not sure what Mili's talking about, watch Ricky Hatton versus Manny Pacquiao. That knockout is hectic. And Ricky Hatton was a big star. He'd beaten Kosciuszko to win his world title. He was a big star, and he'd only ever lost one fight, which was to Floyd Mayweather. And he gets knocked out with one shot, and he's laying on the ground, and he does not know where he is. You can just tell, and he's actually, you can see his sympathetic nervous system taking over his breathing almost. It looks pretty hectic.
Even Jai Opetaia and David Naika, his fight, where he was out cold for like
a long time,
5 minutes. And I was like thinking, man, if that's my kid, I'm in that ring.
Yeah. Now, I'll go to this. Where people say, not sure how you watch a partner get punched in the face. I think our job as a partner is to support your partner no matter what. Like if you decided, if Mili decided she was going to take up crochet and do crocheting competitions, and I just sit on a Sunday and watch 3 hours of her knitting a quilt, no offense to anyone who does crochet.
Doing it very well, I might add.
She would do it very well, but I would struggle with it. Doing well, babe. Keep going.
Oh my God. It's like if the kids ever took up cricket and you've got to be the cricket parent, they're just out in the field and you're like, maybe do boxing.
Yeah, where one ball comes their way every 30 minutes or something. So, I just think you've got to support, if you love people, be it your children, or they don't have to do what you do. It just happens that we do something together. We do a lot of things together. And that's a perfect fit. But I know couples that are total opposites that are a perfect fit too, for whatever reasons that works. So you just got to support each other.
Yeah, I understand that point of view though. Yeah. Because like I said, I couldn't watch my kids do it. Like I would get to a point where it's really, really hard. I'd want them to do it in such a low weight division that the risk of getting knocked out is very minimal.
This one said, how do you stay motivated in business when things plateau or things are just moving slower than you would like? I say motivated because I'm really focused on what we're trying to achieve. But we're in that situation. We're trying to build stuff and we're relying on third parties to give us information that we need, and it's been like pulling teeth. Like, sometimes it takes a month to get a phone call back and then you're kind of stuck in a spot, and we've had that.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, but I haven't lost motivation because of it. So I don't fully understand that question from the point of view of losing motivation, because I haven't. But I guess if your business was struggling and you were losing money and you were struggling to pay your bills, I could maybe understand then you might lose some motivation, because there's nothing drops motivation more than not being able to pay your bills. And I've been in those situations and whatnot. But as far as the new stuff we're trying to create, I'm motivated because of what it is we're trying to do. I just wish we were moving a little bit quicker than we are sometimes, which is not fully on us.
I guess to maybe answer that question, you could see the end vision rather than where you're at now. Yeah. Do you know? So instead of going, oh my God, we've plateaued and I can't just keep living like this, you have to see your end goal and you have to keep working, because one day something will click and it'll happen. Maybe
even force yourself to take time off. Sometimes we're too much on the hustle and the grind, and go and take a weekend off or a week off or a day off or whatever you think you can't do, but you can. The world will keep operating, and just clear your mind. Like you said, go to the beach, take the kids away for a weekend. So often I see parents in business take the kids away and they're constantly on their phones and on their emails and they're kind of disconnected. Just go and put all that away. You'll be surprised how much you might clear your head. Because I know when people trek Kokoda and their phones rarely work over there's 1 or 2 days, but mostly they don't. You just solve so many life's problems because you're not constantly downloading new information. You're not constantly doing the next thing. And when you get home, you realise not much has changed. Like the business is still doing what it's doing. And so maybe take some time off would be good too. What advice do you guys have in building resilience in kids without being overly hard on them?
Let them solve their own problems.
We've been doing that a bit lately, haven't
we? Let them solve their own problems. So maybe they can't, if they're a little baby and they can't figure out that Lego thing, don't help them yet. Yeah. Maybe if they're the kids, boys, if they're the boys' age, which is 12 and 10, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get to the skate park and then fishing. Let them figure it out. Do you know things like that?
Yeah.
And then if they have an argument between each other, let them figure it out instead of going and being like, all right, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. You're going here. You're going here. Let them try and solve it first.
Because sometimes we can solve those problems because it's just quicker and easier for us. And often they're never solved, so no one's happy. They're never solved amicably. So, and what I mean by that is, with us, both of the boys will say he started it, and it's always the other, and you will never get them to agree on who started it. And so sometimes we'll just go, right, just go to your rooms and be away from each other and whatever. But lately what we've been doing is every time that they will contact us, so sometimes they'll ring us from outside the house, go, Marley's doing this or Samuel's doing that. We go, you guys sort it out.
Yeah.
You guys sort it out. Don't hang out with him if you don't want to. And I think increasingly they've been sorting it out.
Yeah.
But we've done that in a way where Milli's actually said, if you ring us about every little problem, we'll just make you come home. And then you both miss out. So then they think, because then they think,
okay, we'll sort it out on our own.
because I want to ring, but I don't want to go home.
Yeah, I'm not going home. So we'll figure it out on our own. And then another thing is to remind them that you're not invalidating them, but this is how I grew up. So, you're not invalidating them, but you're saying there are much worse things in the world. So this might seem like a massive problem to you right now, but come to the realization that it's not that bad in comparison.
How do you process that now with all the young people that you've experienced, particularly in the last couple of months, because you've worked with a lot of different houses all of a sudden, and so you've got a lot of kids who have been through some pretty hectic things, and then it often reminds us that our boys have got it pretty good, but they'll still complain because they don't know they've got it good.
Yeah, it's hard, to be honest, because I actually work with some kids who have had some hell things happen to them. Like, they do not deserve half the things that have happened to them, any of what's happened to them, and they just didn't ask to be born, and they were just born into a world of absolute chaos and abuse and and it's hard because I think my kids have got it so good.
And sometimes the
and
boys
they
will
whinge
go,
about, there's nothing to eat, shut up.
they go, can we have dessert? No, because we had it the last 2 nights. So why can't we have it tonight?
Last night Miley's going, can we have KFC? And I'm like, no, we never have anything good. I'm like, you
literally had tuck shop that day.
I know.
But that's not the same.
But then, it's hard because I just want to, your life's not that hard. And we do often say it to them.
Yeah. But you don't ever, like you said, you don't want to invalidate them because their experience is their entire experience. They don't understand.
Yeah.
And nor would you want them to understand what these other kids have been through. So this one here says, this one is probably more for Mili, which is a bit offensive. No, you can't make me feel that. What's one fitness myth that you wish people would stop believing?
It's 2025 and people still think that you can spot reduce. So spot reduce essentially means getting rid of fat in one particular spot. So maybe you might have fat on your arms that you don't really want there, and people go, but I'm doing so many tricep extensions and the fat's still there. But that's just building the muscle under the fat. So fat reduction is based on your genetics and as a whole. So it will get rid of fat as a whole. And the reason why you see your waist getting slimmer and your arms not is because there was less fat there in the first place. And that's based on your genetics and how your body decides where each bit of fat will go.
And that's why they say abs, for those who want abs, are built in the kitchen, not in the gym, because you can gym all you want, but if you're eating a lot of junk, you're just putting a layer of fat over them, right? Yeah.
I thought, honestly, I did my PT course in 2016. 2016, yeah. And that was a myth back then. And it's still, you still get people say, how do I get rid of the fat under my, at the lower end of my belly? You just get your diet right. And then that's not something that they want to hear.
Yeah, because it's hard.
Yeah.
They want a simple answer, yeah. This one is, what's the best career risk you have ever taken and how did you know it was worth it? I thought about this one because I don't think I've ever really taken a career risk. I did 17 years in the army, and then I guess working for myself is a risk because I've earned pretty low money sometimes. But I had things happen, like I was an infantry soldier and I broke my leg, so this isn't a risk I took. But then the army said to me I had to go to a different role, which I didn't want, and they sent me to medical corps, which I didn't want because I thought it was a bit soft. And it turned out to be a really good thing because that gave me a paramedic qualification, a registered nursing qualification, aeromedical evacuation qualification, which led into going onto the Kokoda track the first time, starting an adventure business. I couldn't have known all that at the time. So it's not, to be fair, it's not a risk that I took and it worked out. It's a risk that was forced upon me. So I don't really know about. I've never really taken a career risk out of that. I think you probably have, in the sense that you moved from West Australia, where you had clients, all the way to Brisbane, and then went online. I guess that's a risk.
Yeah.
So, and that still worked out. So
Worked out very well.
and said, how did you know it was worth it? Well, you don't know. That's the whole point of a risk. You don't know at the time. You hope it works out.
Yeah.
We're doing things now that we don't know, but we hope they work out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting one. This one, when the hell are you going to put a ring on it, Glenn? I'm still working on that. Obviously, on a serious note, that's where I see us. I don't see us not being together for the rest of my life, to be honest. But I also am aware that I've got a lot of work to do, to be fair, and I'm doing that work as best I can, and I'm nailing it sometimes, and I'm really not nailing it at other times. And I always want to be, even after being engaged and after being married, and I never want to stop that journey for you, because that happens where people, once they're engaged and once they're married, it's kind of like, oh, well, they're not going anywhere now.
I've got her.
Yeah, so, and I never want to get trapped into that. For one, you're a leaver.
I will leave.
You did tell us that. But also, I just think you owe it to your partner to be constantly growing. Like, we're not perfect, and we would never sit here and pretend that we are. But are we working on our stuff? Yeah. Do we get it right sometimes? Yeah. Do we get it wrong a lot of the times? Yeah. Like, that's part of being human. Because in the middle of all that, we're raising 2 young boys into men. We're building businesses. We're running current businesses. We're closing down businesses, because a lot of people talk about me closing down the gym, or that's come up in here. But Mili's also closed down her online personal training, which is very lucrative. But you just decided you don't want to be sitting in front of a computer all the time. Yeah. We want to be doing other things. So I guess that goes back to taking risks. But also, we're trying to grow this relationship ourselves personally in the middle of all of that. And plus, competing professionally, going to the Commonwealth, all the stuff it's crazy, the stuff that we've got going on.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic.
So the short answer is yes, that's where I see it, but I do think I've got a lot of work to do.
You read this question to me yesterday, and he's like, you sent that, didn't you? No, I did not.
That one I'm not doing. This one, I talked about this one last week, so this one here just came in today. I think it's a negative, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because we haven't had many negatives. But it says, "Love isn't theatre. If it's played for an audience, it's scripted for a reason. We see you." So I guess they're kind of saying,
first of all, these are not scripted.
Yeah,
we're not reading off we're just yapping, as my children would say. Stop yapping.
Sam said that to you last night. Stop yapping. Whilst he was yapping, he goes, "But you started
because
it."
he got really mad about something, and I asked him to give me a hug, and he came and lay on me, and I was trying to give him like a lecture about it, and he's like, "You asked for a hug, and you're just yapping."
Which was fair. I was using it as a dual opportunity. I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So I know you're trying to be offensive. You're not. I honestly don't care to that extent. No. What matters to me is what you and I have that people don't see off camera. Yeah. The reason we started doing this is because we had such interesting conversations, even before in a relationship. We used to have such good conversations that we think we should share this stuff with other people. And we don't think we're special. We don't think anyone is.
In fact, we got another piece of feedback going, keep the PDA private. So can't win.
Yeah, you can't win. Yeah.
Anyway, but if you guys did see how we are with each other off camera, you'd be like, please stop.
Yeah.
Ew.
So love isn't theatre. If it's played for an audience, it's scripted for a reason. It's just crazy to me. And there was 3 of these, and I feel like they all came from the same person, if I'm honest. Because they went bang, bang, bang and came together. The next one was, what matters more, image in front of an audience or integrity behind the camera, performance or real? So if that's a genuine question, then I would say real is more important, because what you see in front of the camera is who we are. And if you don't believe that, I'm not here to convince you of otherwise. No, I'm honestly not. I've got better things to do with my life.
We just listed those things that we're doing with our lives.
And we also
it's hectic. We don't have time to convince you guys that who we are on camera is any different to who we are, apart from the fact that we're probably more affectionate towards each other, cuddly and all that sort of stuff behind camera, but we just don't want to show that because last time you guys said keep the PDA private.
Yeah, I just think real is real, and that's what we are. And if you don't believe that, I'm not going to try and convince you, because there's no need. But also, we do not force anyone to watch our content, to watch podcasts, to watch Instagram, do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to follow us. So, whatever on that one. This one says, if you felt you let someone down, would you face them, repair, get uncomfortable, or just hope they move on? I feel like that ties into the feelings one and all of that sort of stuff, where the way that's read, if you let someone down, well, did I let them down, or did they have a perception of something that was going to happen?
Did they have an expectation of me?
That was going to happen, and it didn't happen the way they thought, so they're let down, but I didn't do that. I was just always who I was. So therefore...
So to let them down would be like, I said I was going to pick you up at this time and then I didn't come. You're definitely letting somebody down. So in that situation...
I'd repair that.
You'd be like, I am so sorry. Yeah. What can I do to make it up for
just
you
hope they move on. So when they ring me and go, you still pick me up? Oh, mate, I was hoping you'd move on. But I don't feel... I feel like those last three were from the same person. I feel like I know who it is and all good. But I would say this, like, if you feel let down, go and work on that. And ask yourself why. How did I put myself in a position where I expect something of someone that they didn't deliver to me, and then own it? Or do I want to spend the rest of my life complaining about how hard my life is, or that something didn't go the way that I wanted it to? And this is really key, because we're trying to build, we've already run youth development. We've had 3,500 kids go through our programs. We're trying to build youth development to go into residential youth housing. And so Mili works with kids specifically they can't be housed in foster care, they can't be in kinship care yet. And what we've noticed is there's not a lot of development. And the government's noticed this too, because they're doing an inquiry about it. We want to get in and try and teach these young people that, yes, you've had some terrible things happen to you, but you're 14, 15, 16, some even younger. If we can try and teach them, and it might take us a few years, but not to drag that through their life, because that will be your story forever, because it's not going to change. This thing, and this is for this person as well, whatever you perceived or however you perceived to have been let down, these kids have actually been
100%. Their parents have let them down.
And so that's not going to change. So if they're 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, whatever age, and they're still telling that story, then in my mind, like the Nelson Mandela story, they're still locked in a cage of what happened to them, of a thing they can't change. What they can change, the only thing they can change, is what they do going forward. So if we can give them some belief around self-confidence, their ability, their worth, because a lot of them have lost value, their worth, if we can give them all of that and they can start making different decisions and start controlling their lives, and at 30 they're happy in a career or a business, in a relationship, if their life's good, then I'm not saying what happened to them doesn't matter, but it's almost still happening to you if you drag it through life.
Yeah.
And so that's how I would answer that. But for that question, which is a very leading question, I would hope they move on if they feel like they've been let down, but because that's on them. I think I'm very transparent with who I am and how I deliver things. This person in particular, I was very clear with about what was and was not going to happen. And so in that situation, I urge you to move on. Please, I've been asking you to move on for years.
Oh my God.
So
hurry up.
Like any time now would be good.
Hurry up.
Yeah, but again, stop watching. Like if something triggers you, stop watching it. Like people say to me, like kids get a bad body image because of, and not just kids, but adults in their 20s and 30s, because they're watching, fit people on. Or stop watching fit people if that affects you, or go to the gym if that, whatever. You've got a couple of options. Either don't look at it. I know when I was years ago training a fighter and we were fighting an opponent that was pretty nasty and got a bit narky online, so I just blocked the other fighter and their trainers, don't want to see any of the stuff. And then people in the gym were coming out and just see what so-and-so said about you. No, because I blocked them for a reason, because I don't want to know. Oh, yeah, but I just think you should know. But now that if you tell me and it upsets me, well, that's why I got rid of it, because I was taking an action so that they can say whatever they want if I'm not aware of it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've been in situations where I fell out with somebody and then I guess we still follow each other on social media, and then they start putting up stories that are aimed at you, but they're cryptic, and so they could be like, if the shoe fits, like that they're aimed at you. I will just mute their story, because I will not give you that power. Like I don't want to see it. I don't care.
Yeah.
So bye.
Yeah, and I don't understand that, because I see people in my stories, and as you do, who are not followers of ours, who, whether it's someone you fought or who just has an issue with us, and I think, bro or sis, stop looking. What are you looking for? You're looking for reasons to be unhappy. And if you're
like
not
my
willing to own
second-
that,
was it
I
my
can't help you.
second corporate fight?
Yeah.
Homegirl looked at my stories for so long.
Yeah.
And,
And
then
one of
I
her
thought,
gym mates still is.
Yeah, and I thought we were sweet. And then we see her at my pro debut, walk past me like she didn't know me. And then when we look at video footage, she was like cheering on the other girl who she didn't know. And then like doing this at me when my hand got raised and going like vomit face when you winked at me when I won. Calm down.
Like, how would you let someone else have so much control of you when they're not even trying? So this is even a stronger conversation around that feelings thing. I'm not trying to make this girl feel anything. I'm just doing me and winning fights and you're feeling a thing. Like, stop it.
Okay,
I'm literally not even different if I'm online saying you're a piece of this and I'm aiming that at you. I'm literally out here living my life, doing what I do, which is box and winning fights, and you feel something about that because you lost to me a year ago. Like, stop it, So I do think more ownership. When we do our 7 success principles, accountability is number one, which is above and below the line thinking, which is what can I control in this situation, what can't I? And I'm going to focus on the things I can control, not the things I can't. And that's what it's going to be. I don't understand why you would want to be any other way. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's simple, but it's not easy. But why would you want to be any other way? Why do I want to be affected by people years after something happened? Because I reckon they're not even thinking about you.
Yeah.
And so I've obviously a family, or not obviously, but a family member of mine went through a DV relationship or, some sexual aggression and violence. And I've said to her, like 6 years later, he does not think about you and you're still letting it control your life. And sadly, it is 100% controlling your life. But at this point, you're doing that to yourself now, not the thing that happened. And I know that's really tough for people to hear, but that's the reality. Most of what we drag through life is us continuing to tell the same story over and over and over, and we're hoping for a different ending.
Yeah.
You can write a new chapter, but you can't change the ending to that one. So, and I've said this to you before, but you've been through so many hectic things which we haven't even touched on this show, from domestic violence and just really poor behaviours, particularly around men. You don't whinge about it. You don't. Like, there are some things where even I think that should affect you more than it does, and you're like, no.
Because I won't let it.
Yeah.
It made me annoyed or angry or all the things at the time.
Sad, violated, all those things.
Yeah. And then I'm choosing not to let that be my story.
Yeah.
Because then that person still has power over me.
Yeah, 100%. So,
and that's what I really do want to teach the children who we look after, you know. And I do have a lot of, I have a lot of compassion for them because, and a lot of people will go, adult crime, adult time, which is the thing now, apparently. And these kids go out and they steal stuff and they go to the shop and they steal from shops and things like that. They weren't taught another way. They weren't taught that that's not okay for other people. People work really hard for their stuff and you can't just go and take it off them because they've had stuff taken off them. They're just kids at this point in their lives. Yeah. And we want to teach them that you can change that moving forward.
We read that review where a kid said that they some of these institutions or organisations treat us like adults because they do seem on the surface way more advanced than kids their own age. They're not. That's a defensive mechanism.
We got some 11-year-olds in there that know how to drive. They'll go and steal the cars, and we've even got 8-year-olds who are so good at stealing. Like you're with them and you don't even know that they've stolen something, and you come home and one of the girls had a whole set of headphones, expensive ass headphones from JB Hi-Fi, and the youth worker's like, "Where'd you get them?"
JB Hi-Fi's hard to get out
man.
of.
He's like, "Where'd you get them?" She's like, "Oh, JB Hi-Fi." And you're like, bro, you can't have those.
But she's like, why not? They're mine. Well, they're not.
They're not.
They're JB Hi-Fis.
You can't keep stuff that you steal. But they've grown up in a different world. And people go, these filthy kids, blah, blah, blah. You're the one with no compassion. Like, you don't know what these kids have been through. And it's, they're the product of their environment, and it's up to us to change that.
What I struggle with, though, is people that don't have hard luck stories per se, but they create them. And those last few questions I think were from someone in that situation where you don't know real trauma. And I'm not saying we're comparing people's traumas and all that sort of stuff, but man, we deal with some kids that have had some proper trauma.
Hectic.
And you're trying to create a narrative and a story that you're dragging through life that you're allowing to affect you. that these kids would swap that experience in a heartbeat for what they've been
like,
through.
you know, some people's trauma is that my parents gave me a little bit less money than they gave to my sister or my cousin or my...
Yeah, and it wasn't fair.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
you should be grateful that you got anything in the first place.
Yeah, like it wasn't a guaranteed. And
Some of these kids' trauma is that they were essayed from a very young age by their dad.
yeah. The one person. Yeah, so it's just a reality, and it's never to put down someone's experience, but I think we use triggers and trauma too much as words. I know I do as well when you're talking about stuff, because that's the general vernacular. But the truth is it really trauma, or is it just a bad experience? If you're willing to let it go, no matter how bad it was, if you're willing to let it go, it was just a bad experience. If you hold on to it, I had a good mate who's had he's famous, and I've had him on this podcast. People can work that out. There's 1,200 episodes to go through, but he's been on TV and lots of stuff. And I talked to him, but he went through an experience where as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, his girlfriend at the time committed suicide and wrote a letter blaming it on him because they had just separated, or how many 16-year-olds separate? So that does happen. We talked about how people threaten him a couple of weeks ago, but that happens. He's never really let that go, which is really unfair, and I think that's what it's intended to do when people do that. But it's created a lot of mental health issues within him, but it's not the incident anymore. It's still how he's processed it and put all that fault on himself. But you didn't want to be in the relationship. So what was the other answer? To stay in the relationship? I don't know. And so, yeah, you see people carry this stuff through life, and that's all the message is today is, and even the questions where people have a kind of a little sly dig at us, I honestly don't mind. What we do isn't for theatre. I've been doing this podcast for nearly 10 years. So it's not like we just decide to sit down and do a podcast. I only do on the podcast what I think provides value to people. And I've always felt our conversations provide value. I'm sure some of our heated conversations would provide value, but they're just not provided in the same positive context at the time that we would film them, obviously. We're not the Kardashians. We're not got people filming all the trauma all the time. But this relationship and this love that I feel for you has got nothing to do with script. It's got nothing to do with likes. In fact, I've consistently dropped followers since we've been dating. And since I put out this content, I've had people I don't even know message me and go, when your whole social media becomes about one person, which it's not, but when they say that, it becomes about one person, that's not really what we signed up for. Bro, you're not paying me anything.
I know.
What are you talking about signed up for?
What do you mean sign up?
Yeah, is there a contract? What
Where's
are we doing?
the bloody signature?
Because I'm just trying to check my
Where's
bank account.
Where's the $20 per week? Send it.
Yeah. So people get entitled to something, but what I do is all provided online, at least for free.
Yeah.
If I think it provides value. I'll even talk about the kids and Christian, and I'll share personal experiences if I think it provides value. It's not that we're sitting there going, all right, how can I make money out of this? When we do not make money out of our social media, just to be really clear. Like, we don't make money out of this podcast. You hear some ads at the start and end of it. It wouldn't pay 2 weeks' rent for the year. Really, that's not what it's about. So people get the wrong idea, I think. But either way, I would still do this no matter what people think, because the majority of the people that we get feedback from is really positive. We get people that say, please keep doing this, please don't stop. We get people that talk about how genuine they feel the connection between us with the way we react. And even when I watch back some of our videos when I'm doing some editing, and just the way we laugh at stuff, and yeah, like, I'm sorry, but you don't fake that stuff.
Nah. So this whole, like, that person talking about theatrics or whatever it was, it's designed for us to feel some sort of way about it. But again, our choice to feel or not to feel. We choose not to feel.
100. I reckon that's a good place for us to end. Keep sending the NGLs, even the shitty ones, I don't mind, because they give us a chance to talk about why we believe what we believe, as opposed to just constantly regurgitating personal development. Just go out there and create happiness within yourself. No, we'll have a deeper conversation around that, or the hows and the whys and the challenges as they come up for us as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, team.
Have a good week.